Godzilla Minus One delivered one of the most terrifying versions of the King of Monsters, a creature driven by rage and destruction. But what if this incarnation evolved into something even more dangerous? What if it followed a path similar to Legendary's Godzilla, absorbing immense amounts of energy and unlocking devastating new abilities? This scenario explores how a powered-up Minus One Godzilla could change history, overwhelm humanity, and become an unstoppable force. In Godzilla Minus One, we first see the creature in 1945, smaller than its final form but already a force of nature. The people of Odo Island viewed it as something beyond a mere animal, possibly even supernatural. At over 15 meters tall, early estimations put its weight between 550 and 700 tons, far beyond what any biological creature should be capable of supporting. Even at this stage, it could shrug off 20mm cannon fire, regenerate from injuries, and survive a nuclear explosion. This suggests that its biology was already vastly superior to anything in the natural world. The film's novelization expands on Godzilla's thought process, implying that it is not a mindless beast, but a calculating entity. After surviving the US nuclear tests, it no longer simply reacted to threats, it understood them. It realized that humans were responsible for its suffering, fueling its relentless destruction. This version of Godzilla was already one of the most terrifying incarnations ever seen, but what if it became even stronger? The MonsterVerse version of Godzilla has a unique ability, absorbing radiation to power up. If Minus One's Godzilla developed a similar trait, its evolution would follow a drastically different path. Instead of remaining at its established power level, it could seek out sources of energy, growing stronger with each encounter. Now, let's change history. Instead of heading toward Tokyo, this Godzilla moves north, drawn by something deep beneath the Arctic ice. This could be a hidden energy deposit, similar to the one in Godzilla x Kong, the New Empire. As it absorbs this energy, its body would begin to change. The increase in power would lead to rapid physical adaptation. It would grow taller, possibly reaching over 100 meters, with longer limbs and a reinforced skeletal structure to support its new mass. Its dorsal spines would change shape, possibly resembling the jagged energy conductors seen in the MonsterVerse version. More importantly, its atomic breath, already devastating in Minus One, would evolve into something even deadlier. The standard atomic breath in Godzilla Minus One was already a massive step up from past iterations, capable of wiping out entire city blocks in a single blast. But in this new evolved form, it would reach an entirely new level. The most noticeable change would be the color shift to a deep, glowing pink. Many assume pink energy is just an artistic choice, but in reality, pink represents a mix of the highest and lowest energy wavelengths, meaning this new breath attack would contain an incredibly wide spectrum of destructive energy. Beyond just heat, this beam would now release massive electromagnetic pulses, EMPs. Every time it fired, electronics within miles would be permanently disabled. Planes would fall from the sky, battleships would lose all functionality, communication systems would be rendered useless. The moment this evolved Godzilla entered combat, entire cities would be plunged into darkness. In the modern era, this ability would make Godzilla virtually unstoppable, but in the 1940s, the impact would still be devastating. While vacuum tube technology could resist some EMP effects, the overall loss of infrastructure would cripple any military response. Governments would struggle to coordinate an attack, and by the time they realized what was happening, it would be too late. This new form of Godzilla wouldn't just be stronger, it would be significantly faster. Its upgraded physiology would allow it to move more efficiently, covering vast distances in record time. In Godzilla Minus One, it took weeks for the monster to reach Tokyo after the nuclear tests. With this evolution, it could close that distance in days. The destruction wouldn't be limited to Japan. If the United States and Soviet Union identified it as a global threat, they might attempt preemptive strikes. But nuclear weapons wouldn't be a guaranteed solution, given that this version of Godzilla already survived one nuclear explosion and absorbed energy from another. Additional detonations could backfire, making it even stronger. This means humanity's options would be severely limited. Conventional weapons wouldn't work, bombing raids would be ineffective. Even if an operation like Watatsumi, the final plan to kill Godzilla in Minus One, was attempted, the sheer power of this evolved form would make success unlikely. If this version of Godzilla remained unchecked, civilization as we know it could be at risk. With no effective way to stop it, global conflict might erupt over how to to handle the threat. Nations would blame each other for its existence, possibly escalating tensions into a worldwide war. On the other hand, humanity has a history of adapting to overwhelming threats. If scientists recognize the electromagnetic properties of Godzilla's new atomic breath, they might attempt to develop countermeasures. Theoretically, an insulated or non-electronic weapon system could be deployed, though at great risk. Another possible scenario is that Godzilla, after unleashing its destruction, eventually enters a dormant state, perhaps retreating to the ocean after achieving its revenge. However, if it continued absorbing energy, there might not be an upper limit to its power. In that case, humanity's survival would depend on whether the monster's rampage was driven by anger or something far worse. Would this Godzilla destroy everything, or would it eventually rest? No one can say for sure, but one thing is certain, it would be one of the most dangerous versions of Godzilla ever seen. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts. Could humanity survive against a Godzilla like this? Let us know below.